Good evening, everyone. Welcome into the football show with No Name. So we have our usual crew here with Big Ferg up here to the top right, Mr. Ian in the middle, Lauren on the bottom right, and welcome back, Mr. Kamish.
Yes.
Week
Somewhere Samantha is so excited right now that you're on the show, Kamish. Yep. She's like, where's Kamish?
It could not be a better time for you to join the show. So as you can probably understand, this is going to be a show with little heavy hearts. So, there's no skirting around what we're going to talk about, right? So let's just go ahead and talk about it. So I'm just going to let the conversation go from where it left off, right? So
just a heads up, Aiden will be on at 7:40 to address.
Okay. To address Ferg. So we'll take a break in a couple of minutes, but let's go ahead and talk about this. So Ian, why don't you lead us off, man? You were very vocal about this a little while.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm obviously prayers for Damar. We see it everywhere. It's all over social media. It's all over all of the networks. What happened was terrible. We can go into the medical facts. We can go into any part of it that the conversation guides us. I don't want to jump in and get super deep right away. I want to get everybody. I want everybody to have an opportunity to kind of what their focus is, and we can talk about how do we look at this from a fantasy perspective. We can look at this from how does the league look at it from a scheduling perspective, because it is the end of the year. We do have to look at that.
Unfortunately. Yeah, I mean, it is a topic of discussion that needs to be had because it is a $1 billion business, right? Multi-billion-dollar business, right? So, it's just some people are trying to take the human element out of it.
And that's the point. Yeah.
So that's the problem, right?
Yeah. So, and that's where my main focus is. I do want to comment on the tweet from Skip Bayless, which I have a lot of feelings about. And I spend a lot of time on social media. I do a lot of reading, and I feel that there's a really big disconnect between empathy for what happened to a man, to a son, to a father, to a brother, to a teammate, to a human, versus people who seem to have something of, in my opinion, of like a narcissistic value. Like, what about my fantasy league?
Right.
And I understand both are important to people, but at the same time, there's a man who's in ICU, a critical care on a ventilator, and
this is
$200 is not priority.
Yeah, I mean, this is bigger than football. It's bigger than fantasy football. It's bigger than anything. I mean, it's people, right? I think Booger McFarland said it best on the show, and like whenever they kept on cutting back to the studio from the field, and nobody knew what to say, and everybody was just repeating everything they said, and Booger was just like, "Hey, you know what? Let's just stop skating around. Let's cancel this thing, right? We're talking about a person here. We're talking about humans. Like, it's like nobody was like they was talking about playing football, like for real.
Well, nobody knew. I mean, nobody knew what was was going on.
Let's go back to the Skip Bayless thing, because we've talked off camera, and let Lauren jump in here with her opinion on it before we get to Merle and hear what he has.
I almost don't want to do it now, just because it's going to be like
we can hold off on Aiden.
Bottled it up so that the show will be super entertaining, because I have a lot of opinions on. For me, it's two different topics. And I'm going to say it, the black man that died on the field and the NFL. So I also don't know that what Skip Bayless said is being interpreted correctly. I think he's an asshole, but like what does his last sentence on there say? Something about it. I think that people are taking that as sarcasm, but it's not supposed to be sarcasm.
Right.
So, as someone that lives,
Skip Bayless. I mean, the problem with Skip's tweet is the timing. The man went down at 8:58.
But did you see what he said before that?
I read the entire thread. The man went down at 8:58. The ambulance left the stadium at 9:25. At 9:30, Skip wrote a tweet saying, "How can you possibly cancel this game?" Listen, 30 minutes is not a lot of time, but in that 30 minutes, from the reporters on the field, from the reporters back in the studio, we knew what was happening. We knew that there was CPR was being administered. We knew that there was a life-threatening situation, and it was completely inappropriate for a major sports commentator or a Twitter commentator, a personality, I guess is the right word, to have the focus on how can we possibly handle this game. It is too important.
Yeah, but look at who you're like. That's like asking Donald Trump to not be an asshole.
Well, that's the point.
You're expecting like a lot from someone, and he has a really valid point, though. Like,
is it the message or is it the messenger? I think that we can't separate the message from the messenger. If a million, all right. So one of my things that I was thinking about as we're watching in real time, and we don't really know what's going on, I text Merle, which I later found out Merle was busy, so he had no idea of what the rest of America is talking about for the last 2 to 3 hours when they finally talked about it. So my thought was I sent out a text to several of you guys probably, as well as others, and my thought was I wasn't thinking I was being insensitive. I was asking, is he dead? That was the text. Like I could have tweeted that out. If I have 100,000 Twitter followers, that probably sounds like Jeff's a dick. But I was really asking, is he dead? Because it's not often that we see players start cheering.
Here's the point.
And I knew there was nothing with a bone because I saw the guy run from the sideline with the AED. So I knew it wasn't a cast or anything like that.
Your tweet, "Is he dead?" is a 3-word tweet. The tweet that Skip Bayless said was a 37-word tweet with hyphens, question marks, ellipses.
But I don't think you're reading it correctly.
No, I don't know.
I think that's like this. This is like the argument about when someone sends an email and you can't hear their tone of voice and everyone's like, "Oh my God, they're such an ass." Like, again, I think he's an asshole, but he has a point, which we've already talked about, which is that game. If it was like, some 2 teams that weren't going to do shit, it doesn't matter. Absolutely cancel the game. That game had so much weight on it. And as someone that lives in Baltimore, the Baltimore Ravens automatically lose the AFC North Championship title. And I realize that you think that means they should have done better, but we could play hindsight all day about who should have done what the week before. And I'm not. I'm separating DeMar from the NFL. Like, reschedule the game, guys. Don't just be like,
Lauren, how would you feel if you were at work on a construction site and as everybody's wearing their PPE, you've got your helmets, you've got your reflective gear, your fire retardant pants, everything is going on, and there's an accident, whatever, and something happens, a beam falls, or there's a cave-in, and one of your
Draco fell and killed 3 guys in Charlotte yesterday.
One of you, a friend of yours, a brother, a sister, like family, like work family wise, goes down, and they get taken away onto the ambulance. How would you feel if your boss or the owner of your company said, "All right, he's fine. Everybody back to work"?
A family member dying on a job site is not the same as the outcome of the NFL season playoffs.
It is to the Buffalo Bills. Because DeMar Hamlin is their family.
And it isn't, because I think depending on what side of the road that you're on, I think most people expect if something happens on your job, the big corporate cog does not stop because something happened on the job. Now, it is a very strong possibility this person that got crushed by this beam at 9 a.m., that we shut this site down for the day for nothing else but investigative purposes. I guarantee 5:30 tomorrow morning that Lauren and her crew will be back up on those beams building this skyscraper, and nobody will care about.
I don't think it'll be 5:30 the next morning.
Joe, whoever.
It would be if OSHA got there fast enough. If OSHA gets there fast enough and scapes them off the pavement, it is. Yeah.
We're talking hypothetically here.
We're not talking hypothetically.
You go back
on every job. But that job site would not be. I I worked for a company for an underground electrical contractor where we had a man get hurt. The site blew up. They shut down that site for a week. Did they go back to work eventually?
I need you to put the two together, because right now
they blew up. But
if he cut his hand off and could have got ambulance out of there,
there's no way the Bills play the Bengals this year.
Okay, so check this out.
No way the Bills play the Bengals
so
this year.
The bottom line here is that this is one of the, if not the biggest cog in this country, right? It is the biggest money-making machine in this country. And so if they need to play this game, there's a contingency plan to play this game. It doesn't matter. There is. Because the NFL wants their money too, but they also don't want
players will.
That's all I want.
The players can the players can very right say we are not playing this game.
They can't not play the game. They can't not play.
Sure they can.
So if you say we're not going to play, we're not going to go back and play. Let's say we wait till week 18, regardless of what happens in week 18. Now we discover we got to have a winner of this game for various seeding, or somebody else is going to get left out. There's got to be, there is something. I'm looking at these playoff pictures, and it can't just be that a tie or no kind of win or loss doesn't affect these seeding some kind of way. So
of course it affects.
If it is necessary for this to fall in a fairness, because one thing I know about the NFL is that they always react late, but they react reactive because they have 32 of the richest motherfuckers on the planet that they're running this shit. So there is no way you're going to talk two of those 32 dudes into being like, yeah, we don't want to go back in the stadium and sell some more damn T-shirts and drinks and stuff and get parking money. No, we don't want to do that. We don't want to collect the TV money that we didn't really earn because we didn't play any commercials or anything through that game. No, we don't want to get that radio money. If they need to play this game, they will play this game.
I think they're less concerned. I mean, I could be wrong here. I think they're less concerned with the money, but more concerned with like making sure the competitive balance is intact.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Yes, that's my issue with it. Is just because it's crazy to me that the Ravens can go from possibly winning the AFC North to like, oh nope, sorry, can't do it now. And I'm take the human element out of it. I'm just saying strictly, what are you guys going to do when you like this game has playoff implications? This isn't like, I mean, well, it kind of is like a shitty ref call, but like, this is a big deal. You guys canceled a game and you've changed the outcome of the playoffs potentially. Like that's a big deal.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Yeah, I think it's that number one seed. If for some reason Kansas City loses on Saturday, then they'll have a problem. They'll have to figure out something. But if Kansas City wins on Saturday, there's no need to play the game.
Right. And if the Ravens lose on Sunday, there's no reason to worry about it. It's just, I don't think that going back and saying in hindsight, like when you said that to me, in my first argument, the first thing that popped in my head is like, every time we have a school shooting and someone's like, man, we should have outlawed guns. Like you should have thought of that ahead of time, guys. Like you can't hindsight and Monday morning quarterback everything. Like the Ravens should have won a lot of games, but no team can win every game.
Yeah. So, I mean, look, so we wanted to talk about it because it is a big deal. You know, we haven't, I don't know what the last update is. I'm sure Ian's on the Twitter sphere. He can tell us what the last update was. But the last thing I heard was that they said he made a little improvement overnight. Yeah. Is what the guy from ESPN keeps saying.
Trending positive. I keep looking at.
Yeah. I have another point.
I think
that
he's
I want
at
to
like
make.
50% lung capacity right now.
But he's still in ICU, right?
And I got a point too, Jeff.
I got a point that I want to make, and because I want to get Merle's opinion on it. That I've heard floating around the internet, and it might not be a popular point, but just the point that I've chosen to focus on here. That this kid is a 24-year-old 6th-round draft pick who just had a massive heart attack on a football field. I looked it up, and I think I confirmed it earlier. He got a $160,000 bonus, and he made $825,000 this year. Whoopee, the regular person in the world is probably like, that's great. He's now 24. He won't have any insurance next year if they don't have him on the team. He doesn't qualify to get a pension. I'm thinking that my first thought was of this boy's mama coming to this game, sitting in this hospital room, realizing that this kid might just have massive medical bills or worse if he managed to survive with no assistance. And it ties me into how sometimes players, or especially the social media age, we talk shit about players anytime somebody equates playing a game to going to war or this is difficult. We always say, oh, you can't compare this. You didn't serve in the military. This is not the same thing. But they literally have a job that is no better than being in fucking Gladiator or Sparta somewhere for our entertainment. Granted, they make plenty of gold coins doing such, but you literally can die. And I just wonder how that changes, how that'll change going forward. Like, what will football be like going forward? Like, it won't really be any complaints about, did we recognize whether Devontae Parker got a concussion? Did Tua really get hit? Like, I think if you even blink wrong, they're going to pull you out of the game from now on. Like, they have to be so careful. Like, NFL's greatest nightmare is that dude didn't make it out the hospital to get to the hospital. But if something happens to him, he dies in the hospital, it's going to have a completely different flow than if he actually died right there on that field with 70,000 people, 9 million people at home watching.
The hit and that whole thing where if you get hit at a certain time, the exact same, because that happens in lacrosse, that happens in hockey, that happens in baseball. So it's not just
Lauren's
like.
Right. Yeah, so Lauren's right. So this wasn't a massive heart attack. This was a 1 in a billion shot. This happens 30 times a year to 7 out of 7 billion people. And it mostly happens to young males between like 8 and 18 whose rib cages aren't fully and their rib cages aren't fully developed. Now this guy is a little bit older. But basically he just got hit at the wrong place at the wrong 30th of a millisecond when his heart was
but isn't that every hit? All we do is what we do right now is what we're doing is getting accustomed to the idea of the accumulation of hits and what that does to you over the course of 25, 30 years. But every single, for example, the hit Derwin James gave last week, if the same thing that happened to DeMar would have happened to Ashton Dooley, we would have been like, it's because it was so violent. He hit him so hard.
That's
so
what
you
I
literally
can
fucking die on each and every play out there. And I don't think that people really realize that.
People are saying how violent this hit was. I was like, he threw the hit, and it was standard.
The hit wasn't
NFL's
violent.
Problem they're going to have
normal hit.
after that sight that they've seen right there is I think you're going to lose the next great LaDainian LT. Those kids that are at home right now, their mamas and daddies about to pull them out of football. That's about to be the wrap for football for them. So people are going to start retiring more quickly. But also, the next time they collectively bargain for stuff, there is no way I step back on the football field ever again until NFL contracts are fully guaranteed. Yeah. There is no way. Stop giving up all your power, taking pennies, when if the entire league says we want NFL guaranteed contracts.
That'll never happen. That'll never happen.
What I will tell you, like they get. That's why they front load their contracts so much with these signing bonuses and shit. You know, what I mean, you saw Deshaun Watson's whole.
But that's for the Deshaun Watson guys. We're talking about the rest of the 95% guys that are like Damar Hamlin, he just made $1 million 1 year at 24 years old. You gave 10% to your agent. You paid Uncle Sam, hopefully. I mean, you're talking about $400,000 for a kid that's 24 years old who might never work again.
Well, I don't understand how.
Well, Ferg, you know why that won't happen? Because football tends to be, the people who play football are poor on average, and there's always people who are poor, and there's going to be somebody who will take that risk to have that life-changing money. So there'll always be players. They may be in the whatever that World League is or the XFL. Like there'll always be a surplus of people who do it.
I don't think you'll find an NFL player that would say, even after what I just saw, that I wouldn't like we talked about not playing the game. I honestly don't think that if Roger Goodell and the powers that be called into the backline phone in the Buffalo locker room and was like, hey, that literally was true. You guys got 10 minutes to warm up. We're coming back out here to play. There is so much money involved. Dudes are not snatching off pads and stuff, talking about I'm not playing. Maybe one guy, maybe somebody like Dean.
Joe Burrow was warming up.
20 million. Joe Burrow was ready to play.
He was getting ready to go back in the game. He was like,
so
hey.
They can tell us that 5-minute thing wasn't true, but that came from somewhere. Somebody in that stadium didn't just make that up. These dudes thought they literally had to play.
They thought they were going in, and then somebody said, hey, look, nah. This ain't happening today.
Throw something out there.
Sean McDermott said that.
So I want to throw something out there. Aiden is ready. You guys can make fun of me in a second, but I just want to throw this out there because I end up inevitably always going down this rabbit hole. But and I told Jeff this a little bit earlier. What I think is really interesting because everyone's talking about the outpour of social media. Everyone's like prayers, thoughts, TNP here and there, and $6 million to charity. Blah 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 blah. I want to know how many of those people that have donated money and they put the thoughts and prayers up. All those like super nice people. I want to know how many of those people are the same people that got pissed off when Colin Kaepernick started kneeling at the national anthem, because those people, it's like they're cool with some of you guys, but not all the black guys. Like depends, and that pisses me off because that is just absolutely ridiculous. It's like this man almost dies on the field because y'all want him to run all the time and be the best athletes that they can be, and then now everybody cares.
I'm sorry,
like, they didn't care ahead of time.
Maybe I'm too white, but. Why is this a black thing in any way, shape, or form?
Well, how is it not a black thing?
Well, it's not a black thing. It's a human thing.
I think my thought is I don't know if it's a black thing. I think it's the point that people, we as a country or society, whoever you want to judge us, whatever group you want to put it in, we don't give a fuck about Damar Hamlin. Let's just be honest about this.
Absolutely.
The game got interrupted, which is what 50% of America cares about. The other 40% of America was like, oh my God, he really got hurt. We don't get offended about things until they're right in our faces. And then we have this faux goddamn argument. This man had a foundation for 2 years. Now he plays on your team. Somebody else is on the team's brother died. And I'm not trying to compare the two. That guy's brother died. You've never seen him. You never knew who he was. They donated millions of dollars to his foundation as well. This dude has had a foundation for years. They raised $2,500. He plays pro football. He can go get $2,500 out of the ashtray in his car normally. He plays pro football. But now we have this fake wave of, oh, we care. And it was good. Like I said earlier, we want the NFL to be safer now. And, oh, my God, prayers out to your family. Like, I think what Lauren is saying is, why don't we do this all the time?
Yeah,
why
they'll
do we have to do
the NFL in 2 seconds
when shit happens? Kneeling. Like,
yeah, most of the fans hate the people who play the game. I mean,
that's what
I mean, I think that's true. And then, I mean, and I don't want to disparage Mr. Hamlin and the foundation. It's a toy drive, so they're not doing any work. You know what I mean? It's like so I can't see a bunch of people pouring money after, giving away toys. It's not very sexy.
Yeah, that's true. All right, so does anybody else have anything to say about Damar and or the Buffalo Bills at this moment before all right, so somehow let's segue, however you can, to fantasy football, because last week was the championship week. And so we did have a matchup that was show inclusive with Jeff and Aiden, who was on last week, if you guys watched. And you can bring Aiden on now, Danye, so him and Jeff can have a conversation. So let's figure out, how did this go down last week?
So I want to tell you as the commissioner, because I actually lost some sleep. I was stressed out about this. So right now, Jeff's up by 6 points, and Aiden has Josh Allen.
Oh, hey.
I went the name. What am I supposed to do with this? I let them, we had therapy. We had to have a conversation about how were we going to do this. And so what we decided was that they're going to tie for first, and the berating is going to go to the 3-11 team named Team Shit the Bed right here.
Yeah.
Big Jeff, I got you. I made you something.
Oh, shit.
In honor of playing against you, I made you a little crown so we can track who wins the league every year.
All right, send me my crown since I won.
What do you mean? I won. I would have crushed you.
Right.
They had to cancel the game. I was too good.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted to see you cry afterward. That's why we really canceled the game. It had nothing to do with what happened on the field.
You were crying.
You were crying.
Well, you were crying.
You were crying.
I was crying because I didn't get in the playoffs with my.
Yes.
You won 3 games. Come on. Your season was
Clint's
over.
crying.
Clint's crying.
It was bad. It was
Poor
bad.
Clint is losing it over here.
Yeah, no, it was a terrible season. I lost to everybody.
It's the Ferg. It's the Ferg is a grown ass man. And this motherfucker said, "No, you cry."
I can't let him win like that. He acts like I don't have 2 little boys in here. Like I don't do this every single day. I don't care. I don't care.
I love every bit.
You got to get your kids to play in the family league next year.
My kids? Oh my goodness!
I'm so
started
mad.
playing at like. When did you? I started letting him play on my DraftKings app at like.
I was like 8.
Yeah, 7. Yeah.
So you've been endorsing gambling for a long time.
Yeah.
I was winning all the money.
It started because he wouldn't let me watch football on Sundays this is when you're too little to remember. So I started putting my computer in front of him with DraftKings and fantasy, and he would sit there and try to figure everything out. It would keep him entertained for like hours, but then it turned into a thing.
Yeah.
So he's become
1-800-GAMBLER.
Yeah.
So
Gamblers Anonymous.
Oh, why don't y'all do a head-to-head DraftKings?
Oh, that would be fun.
Oh yeah.
With Lauren's money.
I'd make her cry.
Yeah, with Lauren's money.
With Lauren's money, do a head-to-head DraftKings.
Yeah, you really should.
To settle the
I
title.
think there's $10 left.
Hey, also, we have a situation similar in Lucky 13. Where Merrill and Ferg are head-to-head in the championship game, right? And Ferg has Stephon Diggs and T. Higgins, and he's down by 6.
It's only 6. It's over.
Yeah, it's 6, right? But
my team totally screwed me. God.
Yeah. Before we go too far off on these championships, let's rein this into Justin Jefferson. Let's talk about Justin Jefferson.
He sold.
I think the entire fantasy season, up until that moment where DeMar Hamlin, of course, but
yes,
I think this will always be known as the Justin Jefferson season. Like we have literally argued about RB0 because you should take Justin Jefferson first, and then the biggest game of the year, absolute shit.
You know who did was Mike Evans.
Shout out to Giants, Alexander. Shout out to Alexander from Mallet Creek here in
Tom Brady's tweet about that. He was like, what did he say? Something like, y'all that sat Mike Evans or a bunch of like, I don't know why he said something. Like that man did nothing all year.
And, well, you know what? He had 1,000 yards.
He still had 1,000 yards.
So I mean, but I do want to mention
that
something.
Cornerback should be cut from the Panthers, man.
He's already cut. He is already
Josh
cut.
Gordon, not Josh Gordon. That was
Norman didn't play.
Norman.
They signed Norman, made this big deal about it, and Norman got in on 2 snaps the whole week.
2 snaps. That wasn't Josh.
That was Keith Taylor, the worst.
Well, I want to say something before going forward. Talking about fantasy, Mr. Kamish, I do want to say that this is now yours. Like come next August or whenever we have our draft. Didn't you win Hoofnagel?
So
didn't you win the show league too?
I did win the show league.
You had a good year.
But,
the show league also has it's a minor controversy, but
what's the minor controversy?
Mike and Merle have elected to wait it out and see if the season does do anything with the next game because they basically have the same situation. Mike is down a bunch of points, but he has Burrow and Tyler Boyd as a stack. We saw what happened in the first 2 to 3 minutes of the game, so
it's 12 points right
anything is possible.
He's still down 70, but
he's down
70. 7-0?
I think he's down. No, I think he's down.
That's over.
I think he's down 35.
Oh, 35, you sure?
I think
I thought it was more than that. Okay.
I know that
he said 70. He may have been. Well, what me and Chris are talking about. So here's what we're gonna do. Yeah. So ours is pretty competitive. So there's no way to tell. So what me and Chris have been talking about, we're talking about trying to go to week 18 and then do a cumulative score. But Yahoo won't let me do that. So what we're thinking about doing is let the results be the results and then split the money.
Yeah.
It's crazy like how this impacted.
You should give the money to me.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna lean. I think we're probably gonna end up on just like let the results are the results and then split the money.
Well, are you putting? So the important thing is though, what are you doing with the plaque? Like, is it a co-champ?
Oh, that's even No,
I mean the results was I won. So but we'll split the money.
Okay. Well, this is coming to you in August.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is gonna be.
I mean, I'm still waiting on Chris because we could on our own manually add up all the scores.
Sure.
So we might do that, but that just seems like a lot because I mean, like the money's
sounds
important.
Like work.
Yeah, it's too much work. And I may even give him more of the money. I may give him like 60% of the money because like he probably was gonna win, but I don't know that. So
18 more from Burrow.
He
So
did
that
18?
18 more would have given him his projection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was going to be right at it. So, but there's no way to tell. And if Kansas City wins on Saturday, and for some reason they, it doesn't matter. Well, here's the problem: if Kansas City wins and Cincinnati plays at Week 18 and they don't need to win it, then Burrow's not playing.
They're going to sit.
Yeah. So
you guys, Ian, I don't know how you did in your fantasy play, but I feel bad right now. Merrill's got 2 titles, the Show League and Huffnagel. Jeff's got 2. With the Family League and Dynasty, and then Aiden's got 1. Clint, did you get 1?
Yep, I made it to the semis.
I will tell you how many I won, but first I have to ask Merrill for his Giants intel. Living in Philly, I have to know, is Brian Daboll going to sit the starters this coming week because the Eagles have to win this game?
No, the Giants aren't a good football team, so those guys need to continue to play. They're
Neither
really
were the
good.
Saints.
They've every Giants win has been over a terrible team.
I don't know about that.
They're Minnesota Vikings good.
Sorry,
you know what I mean? So they're going to play their starters. They're not a good team. So when you're not a good team, you can't sit like you're special.
Hey Jared, in case you don't know, man, if you're wowing what Merrill said, he is a Giants fan. Yeah. So
Jared Chapman in the house.
They're not good.
They're not.
I mean, give me the evidence that they're fraudulent. I'm glad they're not terrible, but they're not a good team.
The Vikings are fraudulent.
The Vikings are fraudulent.
Merle has convinced me that the Giants are fraudulent. The Vikings are frauds.
The Steelers just need some time.
The Eagles are frauds.
They beat a team who the coach was like talking on TV 6 weeks ago.
Hey, if you want to add in something, brother, feel free.
How about them who?
Well, I got a question for Aiden.
Well, hang on, Lauren. Let me answer your question first. 37 leagues, I won 9 of them.
What's that total up? What'd you get? What's your total there? A couple thousand?
Total dollars wise?
Yeah.
Not all of them were money leagues. A couple, like 2 of them were like just people you don't know, like randos off a sleeper. So they were full leagues, but they're still competitive. Bunch of them were non-money leagues. Money total, I think like 450 total.
That's not bad.
The money leagues. It's not bad. I mean, I basically got back what I put in, which is fine. I don't really do it for the money. I buy myself trophies, and I'll have them hopefully in a week or 2, and I'll show them off.
Lauren.
Get them rings, baby.
Lauren, ask him who won his league, though. I ain't heard no talk about that, though.
The Dynasty League?
Yeah.
Who won the Dynasty League? Some dude with dreads and half a foot.
Looks that way.
Haters.
Big Jeff, the new champ, is the
real
2022 champion of
around
any
here.
given Sunday.
New champ.
He is the
like
champ.
nowhere too.
And listen, Jeff, I know Lauren, you were worried about UB even making the playoffs, and Jeff was the same exact way. Let me just quantify. This is the 2nd straight year that the number 6 seed knocked out the number 1 seed.
Okay.
And the 6th seed won the championship.
Guys,
for the 2nd
my running backs were Breece Hall, Damian Pierce. I had Michael Thomas, Deebo Samuel. I wasn't going anywhere. My team is on. No, it's not in doubt. But I have a question for you, Aiden, and then I feel like your dad was hollering at you, so you can go. Are you going to? There's a rumor. I got a text message a couple weeks ago, and it was discussing a retirement and how the league got too competitive. And so he was gonna have to step down.
I have to win first. I can't just retire without a championship.
Oh, so you're gonna pull a Tom Brady? Okay, all right. I just want to say
Brady Jr.
I'm not Tom Brady. I'm way younger.
All right, you're coming back next season. Is what you're saying?
And I haven't gotten divorced.
You gotta come back next season.
I'm gonna knock you out, Jeff.
So I can beat up on little children. I do enjoy beating on little children. So come back next season.
No, that's not happening.
Well, I can't say anything because I'm 3, and I literally just changed my team name to shit.
You're gonna end up like the Dolphins. You're gonna start hot and then die off again.
Aren't you a Ravens fan?
Boy.
Yeah. So
you're vicious.
Oh boy. All right, so let's
kid.
because I don't think we need to talk about week 18. See you later, Aiden. I don't think we need to talk about week 18 fantasy wise because fantasy championships at week 18 are really lame. It's really hard to figure out who to start, because of just what Ian was asking Merrill about the Giants starting their guys. I mean it's really hard, so I don't think it deserves any attention. So let's move to some real football real quick. Let's talk about some games that happened last week. I just want to point out a couple of things. First of all, the Niners-Raiders game was awesome. Like, how do the Raiders lose so many one-score games? Like, this is just one of the most amazing things. I think it's 9 or 10 this year that they've lost, like, in the last possession. I mean, it's
6 games that they were up by 14 points and lost.
Right,
6 different times.
But let's talk about the real storyline here, and that's Jared Stidham, who is the second quarterback to throw for 3 touchdowns against the 49ers.
I feel bad for Derek Carr.
Right? So it's like this kid just come in here, and the announcer said it was his first start ever, but that's not true. He started.
That's not true.
He started in New England a couple times. So yeah, no, not at all. But the Niners did what the Niners did the last 9 weeks, and they won. Right? So
Jared Stidham. He was in New England with Josh McDaniels as his OC, and Josh McDaniels brought him in to Las Vegas because he knew something.
And Devontae Adams.
Yep.
And Devontae Adams.
Is trash. That dude is trash.
Yep.
Devontae.
The disrespect of damn Derek Carr.
All right, if you're me, would you be more excited about Andy Dalton or Derek Carr?
Derek Carr.
I think so. Something needs to happen.
In New Orleans, Derek Carr all day.
Because there's no way they're keeping Jameis next year.
Derek Carr is going to be starting for the Jets next year.
Yeah, Jameis will be starting.
Or Indy. All
right. Now, Ferg, can we talk about your boys, bro?
What is there to talk about? They're trash.
Like, again, a loss to the Pats, keeping them in the playoff picture when y'all could have eliminated these.
Teddy fucking Two Gloves. What did you – I don't know why people keep expecting much out of Teddy. Teddy is trash.
Who's got
just twice. Jalen and Tyreek and Raheem and Jeff Wilson.
He's trash.
He's
trash.
Let them run the ball. I don't know. They allowed the Patriots to stick around and do what the Patriots do, and who knows, they might end up in the playoffs because they still have a chance.
Teddy's trash. That's
Merrill's Giants took care of business and secured a playoff spot. Absolutely. So now they don't have to play their guys. And Danny Dimes. I joke all the time about a quarterback and being the leader. Young
we're gonna resign.
What does he get next year? 50?
Hold on a second.
Is he franchise tag or is he
hold on
50 million a year?
Franchise.
Hold on a second.
Either him or Barkley. I don't want either one of them.
This dude has been money for the last 6 weeks. This dude's been money, right? And y'all are winning.
That sounds real Baker Mayfield like that, like them 11 games. That sounds real Skip Bayless. Them 11 games.
I don't like mid quarterback.
He's mid. He is mid.
He is a mid. But who are you expecting?
Anybody else?
Somebody in the draft?
Derek Carr?
Are you trying to?
Somebody who runs. I like that he runs. I like a running quarterback.
Oh, you
got Daniel?
Don't use him.
You got Daniel?
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't want to. I don't know. No, God no.
I'm saying this dude gets
runs, bro. He had 2 touchdowns.
I say he gets 44 mil.
He
average
only
44 mil a year.
To the tight end. He can't read zone. No.
He's going to be starting.
Let him stay in Baltimore wherever he goes. That's
what's funny, you guys.
Let him stay somewhere and not play.
For whoever's never played Madden with Merrill, he talks about football the way he plays Madden. And it makes me laugh and it makes me smile at the same time. All right, so
pull Jared's comment real quick because I'm actually going to make a bold prediction for next season.
Let's do that.
We're pulling it back here.
I really like the Steelers. I feel like they're young, and I don't know. I feel like next year they're going to take over the Ravens.
Baltimore, close your ears, Lauren.
I'm sorry, but I like Kenny Pickett. They're young, and I think.
Yeah,
he's young, but he's going to get there.
Yeah,
I really like.
How about that throw by Kenny Pickett?
So I mean, interesting fact. I mean, it's a well-known fact, but it's an interesting fact that in his 15 years, Mike Tomlin has never had a losing season in Pittsburgh.
He's incredible.
And they were
you wouldn't have thought that
this year.
You wouldn't have thought that a month ago that he wasn't going to have a losing season.
Clint, I'll give you.
That's amazing.
I'll give you another game, Clint, that was really an ass of the week here is this Browns versus Commanders game, and the
Yeah.
ass of the week, Ron
Carson
Rivera, for a
Carson
couple of
Wentz.
reasons.
Why
One,
did they sit Heineke?
how
I
do-
don't get it.
how do you start Carson Wentz?
Yeah.
I don't get
the
it.
team loves Heineke,
Yeah.
everybody
The fans
hates
love
I
Wentz.
feel like the Carson
And then
Wentz thing was a
after-
call
and then
from
after
above
the
his
game-
head.
After the game in the
He
press
didn't know.
conference,
He didn't know.
he
know.
didn't
That was
know.
heartbreaking.
They say, "Do you start Sam Howell next week?" Why? Because
And
you're
the answer is yes.
eliminated. We are.
You're out
How
of
do
it.
you not know that?
And
Wait,
dude,
what
you know
did
they're
that
starting
happen?
The
Sam Howell.
Commanders are an albatross. They're an
And they're
albatross.
starting Sam Howell, which I love.
And they're starting Sam Howell.
Should have been
I
started.
love to see it.
Should've
I hope he does decent.
Mhm.
I hope he does decently.
Now,
I
where
mean,
did
to
Sam
be
Howell go to
fair, I
college?
mean, Heineke was
Carolina.
0-3-1, right? Wasn't Heineke pretty terrible? Like, wasn't he like 0-3-1 going into that game? He just trying to shake it up.
Yeah, he wasn't that
He
good.
couldn't have been 0-3-1. Carson
Yeah,
didn't
he-
play 7 games. Carson
No,
played
he
He
7
was
Couple
0-2. He
of
was
games.
0-2-1. He was 0-2-1.
He lost to the 49ers, but that's
How many
not
games
like,
did Carson Wentz win?
No, but I'm saying Carson went like when you 0-2-1, they had an opportunity that Giants game. They did the tie, and then they lost 2 games. And he was like, "Well, I can't do any worse. He keeps on losing,
I mean,
even though players like him. But it's
Yeah.
about
I mean,
results, man."
he's worse than mid, but
Carson's terrible.
you've seen
know.
Carson Wentz.
Yeah,
You
Carson's
know
terrible.
what it is. Like I
Carson
would even.
Wentz's career's over. His
Yeah.
career's
Yeah.
over.
Yeah, I
that's
feel
correct.
like I feel like some of those wins they did have is because they all like Taylor Heineke. Like he's able to he just seems like he wants to be there more. And so like
I mean,
at least
I
for,
never
like,
played
the other
NFL
fans,
quarterback,
like,
but I feel like even if you're trash, if the dudes around you don't believe you're trash,
exactly.
the team
Yes,
still
that's what I'm
plays
trying to
better.
say, yeah.
The
All
team
right,
still
so-
plays better.
They,
What I
but they
want
just
to
weren't
do-
playing well, though. I mean, like, let's not act like the Commanders were playing.
The Commanders were
No,
terrible.
I don't
You
get
know what
the
team
Carson
also
Wentz.
didn't? The other ass here on top of the worst team in the league last week. We've already commented on Jefferson. The entire Minnesota Vikings
entire team.
squad, from
Fraudulent.
Cousins to
Fraud.
Dalvin to the defense who
Dalvin.
sucks anyway to
Yeah.
O'Connell, every facet.
They
of
have
that
a
team.
point differential of -19.
It is.
And they're
12-4.
what 13-3 or they're 12-4.
12-4.
They've
It's
they've
ridiculous.
won
And
every
negative
game
points.
that was a one score game.
They
Every
beat us.
game.
They beat us with a 62
A
yard
one
field goal.
score game.
They
They
are
are 11-0.
frauds.
The year
I'm
before they were
saying
like
the
0-7.
Lions next
They're
season
frauds.
take over the Minnesota Vikings
Lions.
spot.
Oh, I
The
think a lot of
Lions
people-
look good.
Well, let's do
I-
this.
Nah, I
I'm
don't
not-
know. I don't
I'm
know
not
if they're a
averse to
team
that
that's
pick.
meant to like. There are some teams that are meant to like be like the underdog, and when
Right.
they're the favorite, they don't perform, and that's exactly what's going to
Cubs.
happen. Like when
Oh
it's
yeah,
the
next year
Cowboys.
they'll go,
I'm
yeah.
calling
Anytime
the
the Cowboys
Lions.
are supposed to win, they lose. They're just teams that just aren't.
Yeah,
built for
that's
that.
fair.
I'm
I
calling
would like to
Lions
see
and
the Lions
Jaguars
go,
as
though.
playoff teams next year.
No, they're
right now.
okay.
The-
So
the-
let's.
The Jaguars I
I
like.
Lions and Jaguars, definite
get that.
playoff teams next
Jags
year.
I
I'm
like,
calling it
yeah.
now.
Well, Jags have what have the personnel. All right, so let's do this real quick. Let's run down a few of these NFL games from last week just to kind of put a bow
Yeah.
on last week, and then let's we have 15 minutes. Lauren has to get out of here in a second, but we have 15 minutes. I want to talk about playoff implications, and I want Ferg because he had all that pulled up earlier, talking about that to run through that for us.
I'm good. I'm staying. I'm okay now.
I
So,
mean,
talking about
I
last
think at the moment, I'm just looking at the. Let's see. So we know the Chiefs, Bills, Bengals, Chargers, Ravens. They've all clinched.
did the Ravens clinch though?
According to the
No, the Ravens
NFL.com.
playoffs.
According to NFL.com, they have clinched the playoff spot.
Hey, Ferg,
Okay.
Ferg,
It's a playoff
hold
spot, so
hold
they're
off
wild.
on that though. Hey, hold off on that. Let's run through last week just to wrap up some things that needed to be said. Right. The Chiefs almost lost to the Broncos. Right. So
True.
that wasn't a good look on the Chiefs, but they're the
No.
Chiefs and they're going to keep winning. The Bucks clinched the division at 8-8, and I have to put.
Tom Brady was back.
I have to say something that is an unbelievable stat, but it is Tom Brady, so it's not really unbelievable. Is that he's never had a losing record as a quarterback. So he's never
But he
finished.
does now.
when he's a starting quarterback. And
Well,
so-
didn't he have one after they won that first Super Bowl?
No, towards ACL.
No. That
Yeah,
he tore his
ACL
ACL
season
after,
was
five.
They were talking about it on NFL
after
Live.
07.
They were
He's
talking
had-
about
they didn't
NFL
have a winning
Live.
record his second
Now,
year.
2008, he tore his ACL after the perfect season.
No, I'm talking about
We went
2002.
No, he
2002.
didn't ACL after the perfect
I'll look it up.
season.
I'll look it
They
up.
were
No,
talking
I'm talking
about
about
NFL Live.
2002.
So I
They
don't
won
know.
the Super Bowl against the Rams in
No.
01, and then
Oh.
in 02 they didn't make the playoffs.
I think Maryland's
Well, they
right.
were
They were
9-7. They were 9-7.
9-7, so he's
But
never
the
had a losing
ACL
record as a starting
season-
quarterback.
It was 11-5 with Matt
So-
Castle.
Yeah,
Again,
okay.
never had a losing record as a starting quarterback, and they have to win this week to keep that streak
Who do
going.
they play
So,
this week?
I don't think he plays.
The Bills.
No, they play the Falcons. And so
I'm thinking of the Patriots for some reason.
the Falcons are a favorite, which means he's probably not playing because they clinched his spot.
He's not going to play,
and it's not going to go against his record, so he's never finished below 500, right? All right, so but they did clinch a spot, and the Panthers consequently lost the spot in the playoffs. So Lions beat the Bears to keep their hopes alive, and the Packers won to keep their hopes alive. So they play, and that game's been flexed to Sunday night. So Ferg and Ian, the conversation that we were having at the beginning of the year, the last 2 weeks, the game has been flexed from one time to another, right?
Which I'm happy about.
See, the problem with that flex, though, is that I believe that if Seattle game, if they lose, then that game is irrelevant anyway.
It's over. It doesn't matter.
Or lose. Yeah. So that was a weird flex of
the
game.
No, because the game still has playoff implications because if the Packers win, they're in. But if the Seahawks win and then the Lions are out no matter what. No matter if they win.
But if the Seahawks win
and the Rams beat the Seahawks.
I didn't realize the Lions were fans.
Right. Now listen, if the Seahawks win and then on Sunday night the Lions beat the Packers, then the Seahawks are in.
Lions are going to beat the Packers.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if the Seahawks have lost by 4:30, then what is Sunday night for?
No, if Seahawks have won by 4:30, Sunday night is going to be for Green Bay.
The Lions will win that game. Watch.
Jeff, the answer to your question is if the Seahawks lose, the winner of the Packers Lions gets that 7 seed.
Right.
Oh, okay.
If the Seahawks win, the Packers can win and still get in the playoffs.
Is it in Detroit or is it in Green Bay?
Green Bay. Outdoors.
Green Bay at night.
Yeah, at night, and it's
dome team Jeff Goff who sucks out.
Yeah, that's
the Lions always do it to the Green Bay towards the end. I don't know. I feel
that seems like a Green Bay steamroll.
Oh yeah,
it does.
I bet it. I'll call it as.
And the Packers are playing well.
Win.
All right.
If the Packers play anybody but the 49ers in their first game, I'm taking the Packers.
Well, it's going to be whoever the wild card is going to play whoever the top team that doesn't have the bye. Right, so the number one wild card play, or the last wild card team plays the number one team that doesn't have the bye.
They're gonna play. They're gonna play.
The Bucks get
49ers, the 49ers or Dallas is who they're gonna wind up playing.
Yeah, and the Bucks get a home game against.
Bucks get a home game against Dallas. I think.
No, it'd be
5 seed is Dallas. Yeah.
If San Francisco wins, the home game is no, because if San Francisco loses and Dallas wins, they get San Fran at Tampa Bay. And if Dallas loses and San Fran wins, then they get Dallas at Tampa Bay.
Well, is Jimmy G coming back for the playoffs?
No. San Fran's a division winner, though, right?
San Fran. So if the Eagles beat the Giants, the highest Dallas can go is the 5 seed.
Yeah,
I'm thinking Cowboys Bucks first round with another Cowboys loss.
Cowboys Bucks is most likely.
So everything
that's great for TV.
That would be super.
We could talk shit about the Cowboys for another summer. Yeah. Brady, they talk shit about Brady for another summer. Everybody wins with that game right there.
All right, so first, so let's talk about this week. Run down who's already locked up. Let's tell the people who's already locked up and what kind of situations we have.
All right, so we're showing, according to NFL.com, that the Chiefs, Bills, Cincinnati, Chargers, and Ravens have already clinched playoff spots.
Right.
If it ended today, Jaguars and the Patriots would make it. We would be on the outside looking in.
Well, the Jaguars are going to be a division winner over the Titans.
So we got to wait and see. Got to wait for that.
Awesome.
So Eagles, 49ers, Vikings, Bucks, Cowboys, Giants, and then Seahawks if it ended right now today.
Right.
But we just discussed the convoluted bullshit that can let either the Lions or the Packers get in because they're the only other NFC team that has a chance to get in. Whereas in the AFC, technically, as shitty as they look, the Titans, Steelers, and Dolphins are all still technically alive.
Right. So what
Patriots are in right now if it ends right now.
Well, so let's talk with Jared real quick. What has to happen for the Steelers to make the playoffs? Who knows this answer?
So for the Steelers to make the playoffs, the Patriots have to lose to the Falcons.
Rain Man over here.
The Patriots have to lose. Thank you, Lauren. I appreciate that. I'm the driver. The Patriots have to lose to the Falcons and the
The Patriots are playing the Bills.
Steelers have to beat the Browns,
Patriots
and
have
the
to
Dolphins
lose.
and Patriots either both have to lose or tie.
All right.
And then the Steelers could tie the Browns, but then the Dolphins and Patriots would both have to lose.
Okay.
Basically, the Patriots and Dolphins have to lose, and the Steelers have to win. Is basically what it boils down to.
So things could go. So who do we got? Who do we got in those games? So we got the Steelers and the Browns, right? So they're playing. Steelers are playing at home.
I feel like Steelers are in it because Patriots are going to lose at Buffalo.
Right. So Buffalo's
is Buffalo playing as starters?
I think Buffalo plays as starters just for DeMar Hamlin.
Week.
Because of last week. They might not play long, but it might not take long. You've seen the last several games that the Patriots have gone to Buffalo. It has not taken long for those games to be over with. Dolphins are hosting the Jets.
No, Bill Belichick is a sneaky motherfucker.
Well, okay, so here's the problem with this game is that Bill Belichick is the best ever at taking away your best threat, and Sauce Gardner is as well. Right? So these are the problems with this game. It's gonna what's the
Have you seen Mac Jones this year?
Let's see this.
Have you seen Mac Jones?
Did he just get in trouble for something again?
You really think Mac Jones can go into Buffalo after the emotional thing they just went through and win a game?
Check this out, though, you guys. So this Miami Jets game under is 38.5, and the Jets
lower
1.
Look here. We literally are going to start Skylar Thompson, and we just signed Mike Glennon off the street.
I didn't know Mike Glennon.
He is the number 2 quarterback. Mike Glennon may actually have to play in this game.
Can I say something real quick about this? So the Neck actually had a meeting with a friend of mine because he wants to get into real estate in the Triangle.
Really?
Yeah, like
well, he'll be in Miami taking snaps this Sunday.
Who is it? Who is this?
I forgot
Mike Glennon.
Mike Glennon. Oh, sorry. I call him the Net. He went to State. I have no respect.
You know Mike Glennon got all that goddamn money from Chicago. Dude, and never ever played. Got all that money.
Yeah, I know.
That's the dream. The dream
that's
is
a dream
get a bunch
job.
of money, not have to play.
The Matt Flynn playing. The Matt Flynn playing.
That came out
the Todd Gurley playing.
The Matt Flynn.
Yes.
That's
Todd Gurley comes back. Comes back.
Give me that Le'Veon Bell deal, bro.
Monday night, threw for 300 yards when Aaron Rodgers got hurt, made $700 million.
Matt Flynn, yep.
And went to Seattle and was off.
And been chilling at the crib since then. Starbucks getting
and then drafted Russell Wilson.
He probably not even coaching. He made so much money, he probably don't even have to coach nowhere.
So you know what, though? Let's talk about some real football. So we only have a few minutes. So let's talk about one game that actually has some major implications as far as division winners go, and that's this Titans-Jags game.
That's gonna be awesome.
Who would have thunk it, right?
Saturday night,
8:15. You got Titans-Jags.
I have so much wine to drink on Saturday night too.
Right in Jacksonville. So obviously these guys are going to play. Derrick Henry didn't play last week because
he's 100%.
They wanted to make sure nothing happened to him to play this game because this is the only game that mattered. Tennessee didn't give a shit about last week.
Yeah,
Jacksonville really didn't give a shit about last week. Whoever wins this game wins the division.
And who the hell is?
They could have won that game with a couple throws here and there. They could have got the Cowboys last week.
Who is Tennessee starting at quarterback? Dobbs?
Malik Willis.
No, Willis isn't starting.
And then
Dobbs.
I think it's Dobbs.
Dobbs came in to relieve Malik Willis.
Okay, well, Jacksonville makes the playoffs this year. Then. That's what we're saying.
I'm sorry if this sounds insensitive. Does he have alopecia or something?
Who?
Josh Dobbs? I was wondering that. He looks exactly like Charlie Villanueva. No hate, but I'm just saying I didn't know. So that's what I thought. So I just assume he does. That's no hate.
He has alopecia. I was like, what's going on? Where's his eyebrows, man?
Shout out to the alopecia sufferers, but I mean, he doesn't know. I don't know.
Bruh.
No disrespect.
No disrespect.
Like,
just didn't know.
No disrespect, but what the fuck is wrong with
when anybody starts a sentence saying no disrespect, they're about to say something wildly disrespectful.
Jaguars win this game.
For sure, the Jaguars win this game.
Jaguars win this game.
Titans 10.
Yeah, no, Jaguars win this game for sure. The over-under is only 40. So I don't know if they're
24-10.
kind of weather. Jacksonville by 6.5.
It's a freaking rock fight, man. I don't want to see that.
So another game that has implications. We've talked about this already. Browns Steelers, and that's
rock fight
in the Steel City. Over under another 40-point over under 2.5. Pats Bills has
TJ Watt playing.
Over under 42.5. So we're creeping up there. Bills by 7.5, of course.
Tell me the Eagles are favored by 14.
So I got a hot take.
Ravens,
I got a hot take that's gonna piss Lauren off. I got a hot take that's gonna piss off Lauren. How about I call right now that Watson explodes on Pitt in the very last game of the year.
He's been
303 tutties. I'm calling it right now. That Watson explodes on Pittsburgh next year to build this hype all year. I'm not saying he's going to do shit next year, but I'm saying the hype is going to be like, that's why we gave him 230.
He looked good Sunday.
He hadn't played.
Jared, where you at? Help me out with this.
I felt like he was going to need 9 to 10 games
JJ Watt.
Get him a couple massages before the game.
TJ Watt.
Clint, he had 3 touchdowns last week.
That's what I'm saying. I'm giving him 303.
So he had 3 touchdowns last week.
He balled. He balled
163 yards with 3 touchdowns.
No, I'm going 303.
All right, so
I don't think you see a lot of Nick Chubb in this one.
Another game near and dear to Lauren's heart. You got Ravens Bengals, 1:00 game, 42-point over under. Cincinnati favored by 7. Is Lamar Jackson going to play?
I need something to. I can't with the complaining around here anymore. Like, this city is hateful to some Lamar. Hateful. Like, they need to figure something out. Like, I don't know, put him in just so they'll shut up for a while. But like,
let me ask this question to the Rain Man Ian up here. If the Ravens have already clinched, why the hell would the Bengals even play anybody in Week 18?
Or the Ravens, but yeah.
I mean, why would either team play anybody? So is this a thing where we need the Buffalo Cincinnati game to be legit, or do the Bengals really not have to show up? I don't know. I don't know.
The Bengals are a full game behind the Bills. Even with last week's, they were a game behind going in. I think a lot of it still may. I mean, the Bengals can't catch the Chiefs, so I don't think that there's any real reason, for.
But can the Bengals catch the Bills?
The Bengals can tie the Bills, but then they haven't played each other. Honestly, because that game was no contest.
Because my thought about not playing the game,
and it's
without going back too far, my thought about not playing the game was that the Bills still had a shot to be won. And,
they did.
And if somebody knocks the Bills off, and then the Chiefs lose again, and the Bengals were at 2, I would take the Bengals at home in a Chiefs AFC Championship game.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
If they're the 2 and the Chiefs have gotten all the way down to the 3, because looking at their records, isn't that possible?
Chiefs.
Yes,
it is.
Totally
that is completely possible. If they would have played Week 17, that is completely possible. Then they could have ended up tied at the same record.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
There's still no way.
So that's why I was like,
that game.
Yeah, no, I get it.
It's not going to happen.
I get it.
Looking at the records, the way the records would fall, I don't see how you can rob Cincinnati like that.
That's my whole point of.
That, right? Like we keep saying, it doesn't change the playoffs, but it really does. It doesn't change who gets in, but it changes where you play the game.
It absolutely
Arrowhead
does.
As opposed to Paul Brown.
Who wants to go to Arrowhead when you can play at home?
Listen, no argument.
The Chiefs, Bengals, and Cincinnati, like that's. Mahomes
well, the Bengals have already beat the Chiefs in Kansas City this year.
They've never,
And in the playoffs,
and something crazy happened. I mean, because then if you think about it, so somebody gets a free victory because you're going to play one of these outdoor games against the damn Chargers. They're going to have to go on the road. That's a free win right there, I think. Chargers, to me, are suspect. They wouldn't even really be in this position if they didn't play us because we suck. So, I mean, there's nobody else really you're scared of, even if they sneak in. Who's at the bottom? Steelers? Jets? Jacksonville? Are you really worried about Jacksonville going into Buffalo, Cincinnati, Arrowhead, winning a real game?
You know what? Jacksonville would be a division winner. So at that point, they would get the best wild card.
But then that next week when they got to play a big boy.
Los Angeles.
Not in Jacksonville.
The Chargers. So they would get the Chargers at Jacksonville. Okay,
so you win that one, and then you go to Cincinnati, Buffalo, or Kansas City.
Yeah, good luck with any of those.
Yeah, I mean, it's absolute fact that game it's unfortunate in life that happened to that man, but from a purely football perspective, that couldn't happen to a more important game.
That's what I was trying to say at the beginning.
If that happened, the Browns versus the Panthers,
no one cares.
Listen, it would still be the same human reaction, I feel, but it wouldn't.
No one would be talking about fantasy and draft.
Yeah, it's great. It's great that the NFL finally had a meaningful game on Monday night. There's been so many games that just haven't been, and it's so unfortunate. It was the worst.
Ian, I'm not sure
game.
any game that's played on Monday night on the end of the fantasy season would be important to.
I'm talking real playoffs. I'm talking. I'm not talking fantasy. I'm talking actual real playoffs.
I feel like most of the people who are insensitive are the fantasy people.
Yes, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yes,
for sure.
People got money, some kind of money, and have no social attachment to it. I get that. Merle, I got a question for you before we go. I know we're like right over. Steve Wilkes.
Dip in a sec.
Does he have a shot at the Panthers job, or is it Harbaugh's job?
Harbaugh.
And if Harbaugh turns it down, does Steve Wilkes have a legit shot?
If Harbaugh turns it, if Harbaugh turns it down, but I mean, like, it's America. Come on.
I just wanted to hear you say. I just want to make sure I wasn't alone.
Are we in another country or something?
Are we doing our season finale next week?
Yeah, we're going to go through the playoffs. We're going to have EJ on, Jabari on.
We're going through the playoffs.
Okay, I was going to say because we got to do our I love the guess who's going to get fired on Black Monday day too.
That's going to be fun. We'll do
Dennis
that.
Allen needs to go.
All right, so let's say this before we sign off. We've signed a lot of
Saturday.
We've said a lot of things.
He's already fired.
But Jeff Saturday was a filler anyway. But we've said a lot of things on this show. We started off with DeMar Hamlin, and we kind of finished with DeMar Hamlin. And guys, we know that the human element is the most important. We are also here to talk about football and implications of said things, fantasy, and other things all related. So we know that the human element comes first. All of us here recognize that and acknowledge that. Do you guys have anything else to say before we sign off ahead to next week?
Yeah, just on DeMar, like I check on his. I mean, it's like
Same.
OCD at work. Like so. I mean, I really do. Like I said before, like I separating the two on that. But as like, I really hope he pulls through. And from what I was reading, it sounded like it was on the more positive trend. And what I want to see, I want to see that young man's face when he finds out his charity is over $6 million. So I hope he pulls around so he can see, because I read he was only expecting to get a couple thousand this year, and he's got millions to wake up to.
That's a lot of
so pull through, my man, because we want to see your face when that happens.
He can start a real foundation with that money.
That's what I was thinking, and pay himself a salary, because not to be the dead horse, the NFL doesn't give a fuck about him. Once this story blows over, by Super Bowl Sunday, we won't be talking about him.
He can use this to do a lot more.
Well, let's
I bet like Mackenzie Scott will match it or something.
Well, let's bookmark this.
Awesome.
Let's bookmark this and talk to to EJ about this and the insurance and the NFL and all that stuff. All that stuff.
Clint, can I throw out one last point?
Sure.
One last point for us to to table for next week if EJ is here or whoever else. My one fear that comes out of this is that there has been such an emphasis in the NFL and youth football from every level, from toddlers up, on tackling the right way. Heads up, don't go for the head, no targeting, XYZ, which I'm all in favor of. Now you see what happened to this man getting hit in his chest.
Totally legit tackle.
Tackling the right way. Mm-hmm. I have a fear that players will now not go for that chest tackle for fear of that happening again and opening up the door to those quote unquote targeting calls.
Well,
so
bro,
I just want to have that out.
I think your knees are now more in danger.
I'm
going low because I don't want to kill you.
That's what I was about to say. You can't go for the knees. You can't go for the head.
I think the knees are what's going to be next.
Nuts, bro.
It's either the knees or it's going to just be even worse tackling than we see now, and dudes are really just
somebody's dick is going to get hit, and you're going to have testicles on the.
I don't know, man. I played rugby. There was a whole different level of tackles.
This is what I'm talking about. All right, so let's put a bow on this, guys. Let's. Congratulations to Jeff, to Ian, and to Mr. Holloway for winning my two favorite leagues to be in for sure. The two longest I've been in for sure with Hoofnagel. 20. You are now the champ of the 20th year, Mr. Holloway.
That's awesome.
So congratulations on that as well.
And the show league, Commish. That was
it's his league. How many times have you won it now? This is third. Third for you?
In hoof?
Yeah.
Hoofnagle, 3 times. Yeah, I haven't won a lot.
So
I haven't won it since like 07. So.
You joined me, Kiasha, and Jonathan.
It's still like it's an asterisk. So it's like LeBron. It's like LeBron's last ring.
The bubble. It's a bubble ring.
Bubble ring.
Wow.
All right. Well, you guys, it's been real talking to you guys. It was a great conversation. We'll see you guys next week.
Thank you, Danya.
And let's if you have any Week 18 championships, good luck and find a better league. So
Happy New Year.